Oh, I'm in a lot of trouble. Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. Oh, you will not believe what I've done. I have gone and shrunk my husband's wool jumper to the size of that of a small toddler. So this was an adult male large jumper and now it would fit a 6-year-old. And I'm not proud of myself because this was a brand new jumper. It's just all bobbly, fluffy, and it went through the wash. And I tried to save it. It wasn't this bad when it first happened. I tried to save it and I put it through a process of trying to soak it with hair conditioner, and I'd read lots of things about how to try and rectify it, but it just started shedding all the fluff, and the hair conditioner just seemed to disintegrate the yarn. And oh right, I think we'll just put it through the wash again and I'll shrink it even more. And yes, he wasn't terribly amused with me, so now we know what to get him for Christmas. But I am left with this wool, so you can see where we're possibly going with this. It is obviously waste material. It's very lovely and soft and tactile. And I'm thinking journal cover, soft journal cover for the winter. So what I've got, I've found some other sort of inspiration. So let's do a mood board here. I think I need to felt this a bit better because it is just a bit fluffy. But I've got this, I like the colours there, and I like this aged, worn, old vintage scrap of fabric that I found. I've also got this, which I really liked, and this is a soft touch. There's these lovely berry colours that I'm drawn to here. The other thing that I've been looking at, and I've got this with this cerise sort of raspberry colour and this green, and I like that. So I've got these sort of colourways coming in, and so that's where I'm heading. And then I found this. I'm not sure if I like it, but it all kind of fits in. So maybe not the bright, or maybe the bright, maybe, I'm not sure, but I like that. So I thought I could, you know, use that colour. So there we go. So husband's jumper can't be rectified, but it can be reused, so all is not lost. We can try and make this into a journal cover. I've never done it before, no idea what I'm doing. Going to try and make it up as I go, as with most things on this channel, and hopefully we'll just have something that resembles a soft cover for the journal. The other thing I've got, so this journal will be for me. This is going to be my December daily journal. I've got a whole load of scruffy papers. So these are sort of my real grunge papers. Papers that have got, well, I love that one, that's very nice. But some of them are particularly, you know, these are just scraps, rubbish, and shards of offcuts and things. So I'm going to make a journal out of some of this, whatever this is, and some pages here. So these are my pages for this, and I've got that. That was cool. That came out of some packaging, and then that was the drop sheet I was using the other day. So I'm going to, those are going, so there we go, there's my journal. Ta-da! Thank you and good night. So that's the idea. We're going to have to do that. Oh my goodness, what have I got myself into? Okay, let us begin. Right, let's go with the idea that this could be roughly an A5, and I'll give myself some overhang. So, and I might want to use that for something else. So I really just want to, okay, I'm going to cut. Oh, okay, we're doing it. Okay, it's happening. Let's cut this out, just using that seam as my guide. Well, that went well. Okay, few so far. I mean, it's totally not going to be used for anything else now, is it? So I've got to. Right, so we've got that. And then we'll come round and I'll use this line. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll use this line as my guide here. So that is going to be, oh, that's quite good, isn't it? All right, so then I want to measure roughly, no, let's give us some wiggle room and come here and go up. So this is going to be for my Ephemerember project, and I've got that so far. Well, that's fun. Okay, so this is going to be fun. So I need to square that up now. Okay, so I've just spent 25 minutes trying to find my rotary cutter. So if you've got any woolens that you've shrunk in the wash by mistake, and it was a total mistake, I'm not very happy with myself because it was a brand new jumper for him last year, which I bought. But these things happen, don't they? It got caught up with some bed linen, I think, and it all just got put on a hot wash. It's now going to be a journal, 9.5 inch to be 7. All right, so I think what I'll do is I've got to stabilise it, so I've got to have another fabric attached on there, which needs to strengthen it. So that could be a card, that could be a file folder, that could be another bit of fabric, something like a cotton or a denim. So that's what I've got to do. And then it's just working out sort of a design. And the other thing I've got is these scraps that I've been working with. So every day I've been sort of flicking ink and throwing on tea and coffee and things like that. And it's got to a point now where this is the little scrap bin of things that I will pull from and use. But I quite like, there's just some nice colours going on here. And they remind me of autumn and fall and things like that. So I want to bring in that. I've got gold splats on that one, and I just love that. I like the colours in there. So those are that's going to be my colour palette. All of the ones that you can see in this scrap here, which is just ink splatters. I put coffee on, but I have washed them as well, and then I've baked them in the oven. So I've got some burnt papers here as well, which I think is really cool. I just don't like the smell of coffee when it goes stale. So I washed the coffee off, and in doing so I've washed out some of the ink as well. However, the ink doesn't matter. I can put more ink on these, and then we can build up more colour. So yes, grunge isn't for everybody, but I'm going to try and do some nice things with the ephemera that bring in the colour tones of that sort of woodland feel, and try and get a real sense of the forest, but also be slightly decadent as we move into the festivities of December as well, without being too literal about Christmas or any of that. I just think it'd be quite fun. It is still very fluffy because it is just a fluffy jumper that has been through a very hot wash and then left to drip dry. And when I tried to put the conditioner on it to see if I could just make it back into a lovely sweater again, it didn't play. It just started to fall apart and all the fluff was coming off. So I've got fluff. I've got a whole ball of fluff actually, which might work for the first prompt in this whole process. But what I want to try and do is have a go at felting and trying squashing some of that down. So the other thing I've got, because this is another idea, is I've got a piece of upholstery fabric, and it's got like a velvet sort of feel to it. So it's a very tactile piece. I'll leave the name of the fabric in the description box below. It is a German make, and What I had thought is that that will be an under layer. This will go over the top, and then I'd like to cut some shapes through, and then that will be a peep through piece. So maybe we'll see some of that. Let's think. So maybe we'll see some of that cherry red and the rusty blues coming through. And if I do them in slits, that's what I'm thinking. I'll have this as my inside cover, I think. So that all needs to be pressed and done. Because I've got all the fluffy yarn coming up, I'm wondering whether I can squash that down. And I do have a felting mat and a felting needle. These are not very expensive. If you wanted to have a go at felting, it's sort of an interest. I like to look into old pastimes, things like that. And I've got some raw wool as well, which was for the purpose of spinning at one point. You had to put it on a handheld wooden spinning tool, and then it would twist it round, and I just didn't have the patience for it. So I've got this, and it is scrap. It's not being used because I'm not going to spin that into a yarn. I'm just not. I couldn't get the technique. I could and I couldn't. I just lost interest in it. It didn't interest me enough. And I didn't really want to then crochet when I'd finished. The whole process was not for me. You know, sometimes you have these little inspiration moments and you want to have a go and it isn't actually for you. But, however, stabbing something repetitively does seem to appeal right now. So I am going to see if I can just go over this and try and get those fluffy bits into here to behave a bit more. And this it brings a bit more strength. So I don't know if this is quite correct, but this is what I'm doing and it's fun. And I prefer this to spinning yarn. Right, I seem to be getting somewhere. I'm just going to hold this up so you can see the surface if possible. That's where I have gone over with the felting tool, and this is the bit where I haven't gone over with the felting tool. So I'm hoping you can see that there are the raised fluffies there, and you know it's all coming away. So if I can anchor all of those down just by pushing this needle tool here, which is a 3-spiked needle tool, onto this pad, and just, you know, going over like that, so this fluff stuff, it doesn't need to be pulled away when it can just be squashed back in, and it's so straightforward. If I'd known that, I would have done this years ago. So now I'm thinking I could probably make some sort of interesting pattern here with this. You know, I've got some different colours here. Now this wasn't terribly expensive either, because there's lots of sellers off on Etsy that make this sort of thing, so we could support your local. And you know, maybe I'd like some sort of woodland something. So that's the idea there, and I think the idea is coming together as something that could be quite treasured, and not just a scruffy old jumper. But if nothing else, it smells lovely because it's been washed about 3 times. So yes, just a bit of a labour of love on this bit really, just to get those two all squash in. But then that's going to give me a lovely felted fabric, which is really soft, and it's an all natural material. So if you've ever shrunk down a wool jumper, or know anybody that has, or have any wool or an old coat, you could have a look into this. You could see. So if you go and buy second-hand materials, this is a way to recycle them, and it'd be quite a sustainable way to carry on. You know, the old make, do and mend mentality. This is what we could do with it. So I've had a go, I've done half of it, and I would have to now rest because that is quite the workout. I'm not used to it, and the tool is made of wood, and if I carry on I will get a sore hand or a finger because it isn't something that I've used before. But I'm absolutely delighted with the finish. I think it has retained its softness, and it's pushed everything through to the back, so that is now fleecy, soft and fleecy. This pad worked out brilliantly. I'll leave the link to this kit. It was not expensive, but the tool is excellent. It's really clever. It's not just a simple case of 3 needles glued into a piece of wood. The needles have barbs on them, so as you're pushing down, it's taking the fibres from the surrounding area and pushing it. You know, can you hear that? It's really pushing the fibres through and then matting all the fibres together. I think that's the beginning of my front cover there, and then I've just got to do the back. You can see the difference. It's all fluffy and coming up with the fluff there, whereas here we are now nice and smooth and not fluffy at all. Okay, so this is a success. If anybody wanted to have a go at this, and I don't recommend you go and felt your sweaters unless they are old and you don't need them anymore, but if you were to go and buy something, you would absolutely need to be looking for something that was 80% animal fibre, because it won't shrink if it's made of cotton or acrylic or a nylon. So you anything with a rayon or a metallic yarn, anything like that, is not going to shrink down. It has to be a wool or a cashmere. Something that says alpaca or angora is going to be a natural animal fibre, fur or a wool. And if you've got that, then it will shrink down on a hot wash, and all you do is you just put it in your washing machine and just wash it on 40. That will do it. That's what I did. I did it by mistake, and we didn't put it on the wool wash because we didn't know it had got caught up with the bed linen. So that was unfortunate. However, because he did want to wear this, and it was brand new and he hadn't really worn it before, so it was a lot of money to have had this happen. However, it's crafting gold now, and I'm trying my best to make it into something lovely. So if you do come across these natural wool jumpers, or you've got something that is no longer a style that you like, or it's got damage or a hole in it, or the wrong size, then this is something that you could do. And you may find that you don't have to do this step where I'm now felting it even further with a tool, because on my first go, my first wash, the mistake wash, it actually came out very nice and the fibres were fine. It was only when I started messing it about to try and see if I could get it to come back with any stretch by using the fabric conditioners that it started to disintegrate and the fluff happened. So I am just repairing damage that I did, but I think actually if you were to felt it just by putting it in the wash, you probably find that you wouldn't need to do this step. However, this is strengthening up the felt and giving this book cover now a very, very nice feel, and I'm pleased that I've gone about doing it because it is a nice craft, and I do feel like I've learnt something new today, which is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so I've been having a look at the fibres in the pack that I had for the twisting wool, which I never got on with, and what I've found is this sort of green and white. It's got a streak of blue. I don't think I'm going to easily get that out, but I think what I want to create is this woodland sort of idea with the green. So I'm going to maybe have, it's just going to have to be wispy bits, isn't it, I think. Okay, here goes. So I'm very mindful that I don't want to stab my fingers. So it's going to spread out as I do it. seems to be working. I might have to stitch over the top of it. Oh look, it comes through the other side, so I think that's good. Maybe twist it round. It's a little bit like playing roulette. You're gonna stab yourself. And as I'm going, it's sort of stretched out, which I'm not too thrilled about. So it is going to be, and it's going in a straight line, whereas I probably prefer it to be a little bit more organic. So I'll have to, yeah, be a bit mindful of that. All right, let's try that. And the wind is blowing it that way. Let's try that. I think this is really fun. So I quite like it twisting. How about that? And then we'll just do all of that. What else shall we have? So then, oh look, so it's stuck to there. But look, it's coming through. So I think that's okay because it's felting in. Well, who knew? This is fun. So we'll go like that. I'll always stick an embellishment down the bottom. We can do anything we want, can't we? We can put a button on it or something. Oh, I'll do more of this, I think. I might have to shrink more jumpers. Yeah, I think I'd need a better tool and one that I know that I can exchange the needles if I break them, because I'm a bit of an amateur here, not knowing what I'm doing. Just sort of trying to do a few things from memory, from what I've seen others do in the past. Yeah, I mean it's working, isn't it? I'm drawing on felt with wool. What a lovely medium to work with. So I did say we were going to be doing mixed media, and here we are doing mixed media. As it gets punched in, it sort of gets a bit lost in there. So I might want it a bit stronger. Okay, so it's game over. I have broken all the needles in my tool. So this was a starter kit, and in the kit I got, so that's where the fluff has come through on the other side. So I got this pad, which is absolutely brilliant, and I got the needle tool there, and I didn't get the wool I had anyway. And I think you probably could even pull apart some wool and just try and use the fibres that way. I'm sure you could, if you had some yarn that you could, fluffy yarn, you know, especially if you've got any Angora or anything like that in your wool scraps or whatever. You can achieve this. I can't believe it. It's so straightforward. Now, I have just managed to understand that if I unscrew this, I can exchange the needles, and they're like that. So those are all broken, and they've got these little hooks on the end of them like that. And you can buy a pack of needles, quite a big pack, you know, you get about 40 in a pack. Not very much money, and you just didn't give me any spares, so that was the only thing. But I think really for the mat that was very good. But if you did want to have a look at a little felting kit, make sure you get a pack of spare needles, because it doesn't last very long. Well, I've done a whole project, so it did. And I'm also a beginner. I've never ever done that before, and this is what I've been able to achieve. So I've made my own felt, and I've started to embellish and decorate it with fibres. I used up all the needles, unfortunately, in that 3-pronged needle tool. But I will go now and get some more needles tomorrow, because that has been really, really good fun. It came in a little pouch like this, and you store that away, and then that was in there like that, and that's how it came. Pretty good for a tenner. That's all it was. So, and you can't use a normal needle, because it's got to be the felting needles, which has got the little barbs all the way down it, which pulls the fibres in. Yeah, brilliant. Really, really cool. I like that. So we're going to carry on with that, and then I'm going to cut through. I think I might do that. I just wanted to be able to put my design. I don't know what that was going to be. Well, we'll never know until tomorrow. Probably something up there, and then some more like maybe like the Aurora Bora lights. Oh, that would be good. Then I could have a bit of pink. I don't know. I think I'll have the pink coming through from this funny colour that I've got going on under. I don't know, but I really like that, and that was really fun. And there it is on the other side. So I'm going to leave it there because this will have to be another video now because I can't get on. But I just wanted to show you the felting and how much fun I have had doing that, because that is going to be a journal cover, a soft one. Okay guys, so thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you found fun and value here. Please do subscribe to the channel as we have a look at lots of different techniques and things from forgotten pastimes, and see ways in which we can apply them to our journal making, and having a go at just journaling, because you don't have to do a whole cover. That could be a nice tag or a bookmark. I think if you are going to buy a beginner's kit, you can get something, because I did stab myself. Oh my goodness, I knew I would. You can get a finger protector, which is a leather finger protector. So I'm going to get that, because that is needed. You can see you want to hold the project, and you can get these little finger and thumb covers, which would be great for when you are trying to do that. You can buy just one needle for the felting tool. The 3 needles was good for doing a bigger expanse, and maybe 1 needle would be fine for finer work. I'll go and see what they've got at the craft shop, and I'll show you what I get up to next time. So thanks very much for watching. Above everything else, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.